Ever wondered why the Sunshine State of Florida sees more than its fair share of storms and hurricanes every year? Welcome to a journey into the mystery of Florida's storms, known for its sun-kissed beaches, vibrant nightlife, and of course its tropical climate. Florida is a paradise for many. But there's a twist to this paradise. Each year the state is hit by an average of 1 to 2 hurricanes and sees about 6 tropical storms. But why is Florida so susceptible? The answer lies in its unique geographical location. Florida is a peninsula surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean on one side and the Gulf of Mexico on the other. This makes it a prime target for storms that form in these warm waters. You see, storms love warm water. It's like fuel to them. The heat and moisture from the warm water help to power the storm. And with Florida's long coastline extending into the subtropical and tropical waters, it's like a storm magnet. But it's not just the state's location that makes it a hotspot for storms. Florida's flat topography also plays a role. With its low elevation and lack of mountains to break up these storms, once they make landfall, they can traverse the state with ease, causing widespread damage. So, how many storms are we really talking about here? Let's break it down. On average, Florida sees about 16 storms each year. Out of these, about 6 may escalate into hurricanes. And yes, that's a lot of storms for one state to handle. While we've all heard of the devastating hurricanes like Andrew or Irma, it's important to remember that even the less severe storms can cause significant damage. Torrential rain can lead to flooding, while high winds can cause power outages and damage homes. So, Florida's unique geography makes it a hotspot for storms. But which parts of the state are most affected? Let's find out. It's not all of Florida that's equally storm-prone. Some areas bear the brunt more often than the others. Now, let's take a journey to the storm-prone regions of the Sunshine State. Top on our list is the infamous Florida Panhandle. This region, stretching from Pensacola to Tallahassee, is no stranger to storms. Its location in the Gulf of Mexico makes it a prime target for hurricanes, which usually form in the warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Not far behind is the southwest Florida region. Cities like Naples and Fort Myers have had their fair share of stormy encounters. This is mostly due to their coastal location, which is directly in the path of storms brewing in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. But it's not just the coastal areas that get hit. Central Florida, home to the city of Orlando, also experiences a high number of storms. The combination of warm temperatures and humidity in this region creates the perfect recipe for frequent afternoon thunderstorms, especially in the summer months. Interestingly, there are areas in Florida that rarely see hurricanes. The southeast corner of the state, including Miami and the Keys, has a relatively lower risk. This is because most hurricanes tend to curve northward before they reach this region, thanks to the prevailing wind patterns. But why do these patterns exist? It's all about geography and climate. Florida's long coastline and warm tropical climate make it a magnet for storms. Storms love warm water, and Florida's surrounding seas provide just that. Plus, the state's flat terrain does little to slow down these stormy visitors. Now, don't let this scare you. Floridians are a resilient bunch. They know their state's weather patterns well and are always prepared for the stormy season. And remember, storms are a part of nature's way to balance heat in the atmosphere. They can be fierce, but they also bring much-needed rain to this sunny state. Now that we know where storms hit the most, let's dig into the history of these storms. Florida's history with storms is as old as the state itself. As we journey through the annals of Florida's storm history, we find ourselves in the midst of some truly colossal weather events. Let's start with the Great Miami Hurricane of 1926. As it roared ashore, it brought with it a storm surge of nearly 15 feet, causing extensive damage and taking hundreds of lives. This hurricane was a stark reminder of nature's fury and set the stage for the kind of storms Florida would experience in the future. Then we have the Labor Day Hurricane of 1935, one of the most intense hurricanes to ever make landfall in the United States. It was a compact but incredibly powerful storm that swept through the Florida Keys, leaving devastation in its wake. Moving forward to more recent times, who could forget Hurricane Andrew in 1992? It was one of the costliest hurricanes in U.S. history, causing an estimated $26 billion in damage and leaving a lasting impact on the residents of South Florida. Now let's talk about the longest storm in Florida's history. That dubious honor goes to Hurricane Frances in 2004. Frances, a slow-moving storm, hovered over Florida for 2.5 days, dumping heavy rain and causing widespread flooding. The endurance of this storm made it unique, as most tropical storms typically last less than a day over land. These storms have left indelible marks on Florida's landscape and its people. They've shaped policy, forced improvements in building codes, and fostered a culture of preparedness among residents. But they also underscore the resilience and adaptability of Floridians who, despite facing nature's wrath head-on, continue to thrive and build on this storm-battered paradise. From devastating historical storms, let's turn our attention to the present day. In recent years, Florida continues to face the wrath of Mother Nature. The frequency of storms and hurricanes hitting this sun-kissed state has been on a steady rise, with every year seeming to outdo the last. It seems that the Sunshine State has become a favorite playground for these tempestuous events. On average, Florida sees about 12 tropical storms each year, with about 6 of these escalating into full-fledged hurricanes. There's no denying the severity of these storms. They unleash their fury with torrential rains, high-speed winds, and devastating storm surges. These forces of nature leave behind a trail of destruction, impacting lives, homes, and the state's economy. The duration of these storms varies greatly. A typical tropical storm could last anywhere between a few hours to a couple of days. However, hurricanes are a different story altogether. These massive storms can last for over a week, with the record holder being the 1899 San Ciriaco hurricane that lasted for an astounding 28 days. The geographical location of Florida makes it a prime target for these storms. While there are areas that are hit more frequently than others, there's no part of Florida that can claim to be hurricane-free. From the Panhandle to the Keys, every region has had its share of stormy weather. The impact of these storms isn't limited to just the immediate aftermath. They have long-term effects on the environment, economy, and the very way of life in Florida. Coastal erosion, damaged infrastructure, and loss of life are just some of the grim realities that Floridians have to deal with. Despite these challenges, Floridians are resilient. They spring back into action as soon as the storm passes, rebuilding their lives and their communities. But the question remains, with storms being a common occurrence, how do Floridians stay safe and protect their homes? When storms hit, Floridians know it's time to batten down the hatches. Over the years, the residents of this hurricane-prone state have developed a unique culture of preparedness and resilience. For them, safeguarding their homes and loved ones from the fury of tropical storms and hurricanes is not just a necessity, but a way of life. In Florida, storm safety begins with the home. Many houses are constructed with reinforced concrete, and windows are often fitted with hurricane shutters or high-impact glass. These measures not only protect the residents from flying debris during a storm, but also help to prevent major structural damage. But the safety measures don't stop there. Floridians understand the importance of being prepared for the worst. That's why when storm season approaches, they ensure their homes are stocked with essentials like bottled water, non-perishable food items, flashlights, batteries, and a first aid kit. They also keep important documents, such as insurance papers and identification, in a waterproof and easily accessible location. Often, the local community plays a crucial role in storm safety. Neighbors look out for each other, sharing resources and information. They check in on the elderly and those with special needs, ensuring everyone is safe and accounted for. Evacuation is another key aspect of storm safety. When a major storm is forecasted, authorities may issue evacuation orders. Floridians take these orders seriously, knowing that leaving their homes can often be the safest option. And let's not forget about the pets. Floridians make sure their furry friends are safe too, keeping them indoors during storms and including them in evacuation plans. Education is also a vital part of storm safety in Florida. Residents are encouraged to stay informed about the latest weather updates and understand the different types of storm warnings. Despite the challenges, the resilience of Floridians shines through as they continue to live and thrive in the Sunshine State. They face each storm with courage and determination, knowing that together they can weather any storm.